Hey, what is going on out there? I tell you guys what, this is getting more interesting than the Sitzer Burnett trial, let me tell you. Because with the Sitzer Burnett trial, there was a definitive across the board. Real estate agents were all on the same page. We kind of came together and said, you know what? It's not right what you guys are doing. These class action lawyers come in here and basically say, okay, we got all these homeowners. Let's create this class action against this because the way that commissions are being paid out through the listing agent negotiating that up front with the seller and making it part of the deal, that is crossing some antitrust laws. So this is something we feel like we really certain that we can win this thing and we can make hundreds of millions of dollars. And so the agents, kind of came together during that moment and they said, you know what? It's wrong what you guys are doing. It's wrong that you're out there basically bashing real estate agents, talking about that, what do why are we're getting paid too much and that what do you need? The lawyer was literally on TV during the Sitzer Burnett. And they were literally saying that why are agents getting paid so much? Because people can find houses on Zillow now. So what do you even need a buyer? He was basically like, why do you even need a buyer agent? And I feel like in that moment, real estate agents came together. And it was a harmonious, beautiful thing. And then we fast forward. So we get through that. We fast forward. We look back at what happened through the settlement of Sitzer Burnett, and we find ourselves in an interesting situation where, guess what? Commission rates haven't went down. Commission rates haven't went down, and actually they've actually increased. Now, the increase in commissions could absolutely be a result of the slow market, and that's kind of what happens. Like as markets go up, as markets go down, you see commissions fluctuate. That's the way it's been for forever. If you look at commission rates over the years, over the decades, you'll find that they fluctuate throughout time. And a lot of it has to do with whatever's going on with the market at the time. We're in a very slow market. People are going to probably pay more for an agent during this time to navigate the waters, etc. Sellers are willing to pay higher commissions because it's harder to sell properties. And when the market's really great, commissions tend to kind of go down a little bit. So maybe that's why commissions are up since the settlement. But we weathered that storm, and now here we sit, and this clear cooperation issue has come up, and I feel like this is different. This has a whole different feel to it because now I feel like it's almost dividing the industry a little bit. We've got people that are really for this private listing portal. They're screaming seller choice from the mountaintops, and we've got that group. And then we have the group, we have the other group that more so wants every listing to be available to all the available buyers, A, so that everybody has a fair shot at every deal, and B, they want to get the most they can out of that property for the seller. And so we have two camps right now. And I feel like this situation is more so dividing the industry a little bit. When I really take a hard look at it, from everything I can tell, there's way more people on the side of keeping clear cooperation in place, etc., than those who really are pushing for the private listing portal, etc. But I do feel like there's like this beginning of a divide. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm not here to say I'm on this side or the other. I'm here because I honestly just want to understand what's going on. And get everybody's perspective and see if we can find some even middle ground to this entire thing where A, everybody's happy, B, all the buyers get the fair shot at all the listings, C, sellers get as much as they can for every single deal, that we maximize the prices for the sellers, because it is our fiduciary duty to do the best job that we can for our clients. I understand that there are sellers out there who, you know, are celebrities or whatnot, who want to keep their properties off of these public platforms, etc. Totally get it. I think that somebody did a study, and it was like 0.01% or something like that of listings that are actually in that situation. But nevertheless, I get that part of it, no doubt. Totally understand. But anyway, I'm not coming at Compass agents. I'm trying to understand what's really going on behind the scenes, because what it seems like, and from what I understand, it's been talked about behind closed doors, what it seems like is just a chase to double in more deals. Is that what it is? Or is this a chase for absolute seller's choice? Is it the fact that there's only so many transactions in the market? Like there's only going to be like 5 million existing home sales. We fluctuate up to 6 million. We had 7 million one year, but there's only going to be so many deals. And Compass is only, like, they've recruited probably all the agents that they're going to recruit. You know, there's going to be no windfall of agents at this time, you know, fleeing to Compass. So is it that they're looking at it and saying, okay, there's only so much juice that we can squeeze out of this. Now we got to figure out a different way to be innovative to squeeze more juice, aka dollar bills, out of the industry. Is that what it is? Or is this truly about seller's choice and doing what's best for the consumer? That's the question that I lay out to the entire industry right this second. Let's see. So I put a link there. If anybody wants to come in and just give their 2 cents on this, happy to have you come into the live stream, give your 2 cents, and all that good stuff. I want to talk about the agents that left Compass. There was a lawsuit, of course, between the Northwest MLS. Compass is suing Northwest MLS because, you know, they basically cut their IDX feed off. You know, I don't know when that was, 3 weeks ago. Right. Compass escalated its battle over private listings in Washington state last week via a new lawsuit, but in doing so revealed that a waging war has come at a cost. The brokerage has lost both agents and listings in the course of the fight. That information comes from Compass complaint, which the company filed Friday, which accuses Northwest MLS of limiting competition, among other things. The complaint recalls an episode earlier this month during which Northwest MLS cut off Compass's IDX feed, right? The IDX feed, as you guys know, it takes listings and basically, you know, it takes it and feeds it to the other MLS members. Compass describes the move as a group boycott meant to undermine its business. Brokers have reported clients fully canceling listing agreements because Compass could no longer offer them Compass private exclusive listings as an option. The complaint states brokers have likewise lost business opportunities because the potential clients no longer wish to list their homes for sale at all as a result of the broker's inability to offer Compass private exclusives. Compass private exclusives are properties the company markets exclusively through their own platform, such as listings that are in the first part of the brokerage's 3-phase marketing strategy that sees homes put in an MLS only after they're first marketed privately, then as coming soon. The new complaint also indicates that multiple brokers left Compass as a Northwest lawsuit shut off their IDX feed, and that 3 of those brokers specifically cited Northwest MLS's actions for the reasons of their departure. And I've talked to other Compass agents too, you know, who indicate they're more than likely not going to be there very much longer. Moreover, according to the complaint, a managing broker at another company tried to recruit Compass agents during the IDX shutdown. The broker allegedly claimed in an email that we're fully in compliance with Northwest MLS rules. Our IDX feed is live, accurate, and working exactly as it should. Compass ultimately concluded in the complaint that Northwest MLS's actions against Compass were intended to and did have chilling effect on Compass's business, both with consumers and with its own brokers. It goes on. I mean, that's basically the gist of it. So basically, they lost listings due to like people not wanting to list their properties anymore because Compass couldn't do the exclusives, and I'm going to get into that. And then agents left because, of course, they got their IDX feed shut down. And I mean, you can't have that in your business at all. So from what I understand, I look at the lawsuit, right? It talks about it in this article right here. And so Northwest MLS is a monopolistic and a combination of competing is a combination of competing real estate brokers, saying that Northwest MLS is owned mostly by actual brokers in the area. Like just the meat and potatoes of this, it looks like this is just from what I can tell outside looking in. It looks like Compass found the loophole with Northwest MLS to actually advertise on their exclusive platform by doing an open listing, not an exclusive agreement. Let's see, where is it here? Innovative. Okay, let's see. Let's see. In the complaint, Compass claims that before listing homes in MLS, nearly half of the sellers it represented nationwide in the first quarter, 48% opted to pre-market their homes as private, exclusive, or coming soon listings. And I would imagine, like, if you offer that to somebody who isn't serious about selling their home, I would imagine you would get more listings, quote unquote listings, because you're not really listing it. It's just kind of like, you're throwing it out there to a few people, kind of deal. So it's like, okay, that 48%, I don't think is like a true number, because, like if I listed all the people who said that they would sell, but they don't want to list right now, which is basically kind of what I would imagine this kind of is, right? People that aren't as serious about selling, they just want to test the market out. Compass adds as innovative offerings can be unpopular with competitors because they disrupt traditional real estate brokerages from being able to continue business as usual. And business as usual, meaning that all the buyers in the area get to see that house for sale. Let's see. I'm looking for where it says. What they did for I read this a couple times, and basically what I catch that happened is that they found a loophole in offering and doing open listings as opposed to an exclusive listing. Here it is. We launched a compliant, private, exclusive marketing strategy using non-exclusive and unenforceable listing agreements, both of which, since the founding of Northwest MLS in 1984, have not been eligible for submission into the MLS. So what they did was they took that statement and said, okay, we're going to get non-exclusive agreements, and then we're going to offer them off-market. This is a stark example of monopolistic control, with Northwest MLS having 100% market share of real estate agents that limits homeowners' choice, stifles competition, and sets a dangerous precedent for brokers' accountability and market fairness. So I put a link. It's pinned at the top for if you guys want to come in and share your thoughts. I posted this on Instagram yesterday, and basically the gist of it was that if Compass is a private exclusive, which I actually hear, like people in the comments actually said that Compass is looking to do this. Basically what I said was, if it's so great, why don't they just leave MLS? Because here's my thing. Like it's a choice to be part of MLS. Okay, it's a choice. If you don't like the rules that they have, so you join the membership, and then you have rules you have to abide by if you're a member of this club, let's say. If you don't like the rules of the club, you can leave. That's not against the law. So my thoughts were, well, if this is so great, why don't they just leave MLS? And I actually hear that that's kind of happening in a couple markets, that they're actually, talking about or in process of actually leaving. But there was all kinds of comments here, tons of comments. Everybody has an opinion on this. Again, I'm not coming at Compass agents. I'm trying to understand for real. And so it turned into a war like against Zillow. I'll let you know a little secret. It's not about MLS. It's about Zillow and how they become the governing body of our material. They get all the free content, and we pay thousands for, and then sell it back. That's what we're trying to change. Do what? So it's not about like Clear Corporation. It's about Zillow. So now I'm confused. When people say stuff like this, then I become confused. I'm like, okay, what is it? Is it clear cooperation, or is it about, you know, what NAR's control? Is it about the local MLS's control, or is this about Zillow, you know, taking your listings and then selling you leads? Maybe it's everything. I don't know. But literally, this person just said it's not about MLS, it's about Zillow. So, I mean, here's the thing about Zillow. I want you guys to understand. There's no way in the world that I could sell 100 properties a year as a single agent like I did for 8 years in a row without Zillow. And I'll tell you how. And I never paid them I never paid them a dime, never paid them a penny. When Zillow caught fire, I went from spending hours of my life looking for properties for my buyers. That's what I spent a lot of time doing. The few buyers I had took a lot of time. And I would have to research, send my buyer a list of properties. They would send me back the ones they liked. Then I would cross-reference the criteria on those to try to find similar properties to add to the list to get to a place where we know exactly what the list of properties are that buyer wants to see. And so then it wasn't even in real time, because something could get listed literally in the past day. And if I didn't check it all the way to the moment that we went to go see property, then we could lose out on a listing that they might have wanted to see. But then Zillow came along, and literally my buyers did all the research and just sent me a list of the properties that they wanted to see. Now, I heard, like, in the comments, I believe this lady may have said it. They were like, they could go, there's a lot of different platforms they could go to do that. You don't know Zillow to do that. And my response is, okay, great. But here's the thing. Before Zillow came along, I had to look up all the properties. And after Zillow came along, I did not have to look up all the properties. So maybe there are platforms now that provide some kind of syndication that show you everything that buyers could actually use. I would fear to say that buyers aren't using them. They're using Zillow, right? It helps agents because now you don't have to look for properties for buyers. Everything isn't segmented and broke up in different areas. Everything is in one spot. And my buyer can look at everything they want to see, send me a list, and it's easy peasy. I don't pay Zillow a dime for that. Furthermore, when I would get a listing, it got way more exposure on Zillow. Like, that's where all the buyers went to. So, and look, so it sold my properties faster. It gave them more exposure, and it cut out all the time they used to spend looking for properties for buyers. I never paid Zillow a dime. I don't want the leads of the buyers that are coming through. Now the argument is there where it's like, well, it's our listing, we should get the leads. You know, when people reach out, they think they're talking to the listing agent. They think they're talking to the listing agent on Zillow, but then they show up and it's not the listing agent. They're misled. The listing agent should get the leads for their listings, etc., etc. But here's the thing about that. Zillow tried that. They tried that years and years and years ago. And guess what? Listing agents don't call buyers back. So Zillow had to go to this model to make people pay. See, if you pay, now you're serious. If you pay for a lead, then you're going to be, when you get that lead, you're going to call them because you want to make sure that you're maximizing the opportunity that you just paid for. It's the same thing when you pay for coaching. You pay for coaching, you are serious and you're ready to roll, and you take the action because you don't want to waste the money you just spent. Right? It opens up a whole new level for you. And so they had to do that to ensure that you are actually going to call the buyer, because if they just gave leads away for free, they know that the agents aren't going to call them. And like, let's take a second. Let's take a second. So like, if clear cooperation policy goes away and everything is set up in different like portals and websites and everything else, because a lot of people are like, this young lady, for example, it's not about MLS, it's about Zillow, and they want to dismantle Zillow. Do you understand that going private listing portal and like having all the different brokerages go private listing portal would help Zillow? Because if they went to a pay to play and made you pay to put your listing on MLS, they would to put on your listing on Zillow, they would make way more money. They would make way more money. And so, like, you want to talk about private portals, private listing portals, okay? Zillow would be the king. They would have the most listings in their portal And they would, because why? Because they have all the eyeballs. And a lot of people say, well, the only reason they have the eyeballs is because they have all the listings. If you take the listings away, they don't have the eyeballs. That's not true. I don't know if you guys have ever had a website that you had a bunch of content there, and then all of a sudden, like, you changed the domain or went to a different website or whatever and paid attention to the data after you basically, like, for example, I had zero2diamond.com, zero2diamond.com, free real estate coaching platform. Well, like, years later, I did something different with zero2diamond.com, and it went to a different thing. And there was like a phase where it wasn't even anything. It was literally just a blank page, but I still had the stats on it for how many people were going there. Oh my gosh. It was crazy. So if you think that, 90 something percent of sellers aren't going to want their properties on Zillow and are not going to want you to pay to put their listing there, if they were to go to that pay to play model that Zillow wouldn't clean up, I think you're sadly mistaken. So I don't think what you guys are doing is actually going to dismantle Zillow. You might change the business model if in fact you won some kind of battle, but I don't think it's going to dismantle Zillow. So what I'm saying is, guys, like, I use Zillow as a tool. It minimized the time I spent with buyers looking for properties. They sent me the list. Then I showed them the properties. Then I consulted them. And we made the offer. Then I helped them through the contract. I didn't pay Zillow a dime for that, but they saved me hours and hours and hours of my life. More exposure to my listings, sending leads to agents who are paying for the leads, who actually want the leads. Like, to me, I want you guys to think about this. To me, making the agents pay for the leads ensures that somebody's going to call those leads. And so me as the listing agent, I'm happy that we've got somebody on the other end of these leads who are paying for the leads, which means there's probably a pretty good chance that they're going to do everything they can do to convert that lead. Why? Because they paid for it. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. As a listing agent, I like that because I don't want to mess with the lead. I don't want to mess with the lead. I want an efficient business. I'm gonna represent my seller as a buyer when somebody else sells the listing. By the way, I don't want to represent both sides, guys. That's a legality nightmare. A lawsuit happens and you're representing both sides, depending on what state you're in, depending on how they allow you to represent both sides, et cetera, et cetera. You can find yourself in a serious situation. I don't want to do that. I want to represent my seller's best interest. I want another agent to represent the buyer's best interest. And I want me and the buyer's agent to work together to get the best deal for my client and the best deal for their client. That's what I want. I don't want the leads. I want to represent my seller when we sell and then they buy. I want to represent them as a buyer. I want to represent the referrals they give me as buyers. I want to represent past clients as buyers. I don't want to represent random people that come through that want to see my listings. No. I don't want nothing to do with that. So anyway, I mean, I'm just giving you guys my thoughts on all this. I put a link. I pinned it at the top of the YouTube. If you want to come into the live and give me your 2 cents, I'm happy to have you on. I've got a couple agents in the backstage. I'll bring you guys on in just a second to kind of give your 2 cents on this. But like, I'm just gonna say one more thing about it. Let's see if that. Well, I mean, the comments were off the chain with this. There was also comments on this post I found interesting. And it seems like most people are kind of, they want clear cooperation in place. Here's the three-phase marketing strategy. And a lot of people in the comments were like, have you even read the three? Yeah, I read it like 4 or 5 times. I've read it over and over and over again to see if there was something I missed or something like amazing in there or something that's just over the top that I'm just missing somehow. But no, it's just the same thing every time I read it. It basically, we're going to be off market first. We'll go to Compass Coming Soon second. And then if all else fails, we'll go to MLS. Pretty simple stuff. Nothing magical. Nothing magical at all. Now when I was coming up, when I was coming up, back in the day in my market, we had to put our listings in MLS within 3 business days. That got reduced to 1 business day when clear cooperation came into play. And like the whole reason they did it is because agents were holding listings off market, trying to sell it on their own. And we saw that as dirty. That's why we put the clear cooperation in place in the first place, because it wasn't fair to the rest of the buyers in the market. And it wasn't fair to the seller, because if the agent sells it off market, we don't know if they could have got more if it was on the market. And what it came from, like literally, I'm not accusing Compass or anybody else of this, but I know what it was back in the day. Maybe it's the same with Compass, maybe not, whatever, but it was greed. The agent like didn't put it on MLS like they were supposed to, sold it off market sometimes, got both sides of the commission, and who knows what they would have gotten for the seller if they would have exposed it to the entire market. We saw that as dirty, and it was looked down on. You know, I don't know. Maybe things have changed. It sounds like the way this is being presented to sellers, they're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds great." I don't know. The last thing is, before I bring a few of you guys on, is like, it seems like the Sitzer Burnett trial was, to me, a pie in the sky. Like, I was thinking, how in the world are the lawyers going to win this? And then the more I looked at it, I was like, wow, I think they might actually win this. Why? Because people are oblivious to the process, the complexity of the real estate transactions in terms of what we do as real estate agents. And so it went from, there's no way they're going to win this, to, I think they're going to win. But when I look at this situation, and if I like, and from what I understand, there's already stuff happening where sellers are selling off market, and it's ended up being cheaper than the retail value. And so now you when you have comps that show, here's what it's worth, here's what we sold it for, you have a measurable like a measurable loss. Measurable. Like the measurable loss with the Sitzer Burnett, like what was it? Like the buyer commission? Or how did you even measure what the loss was? I didn't really even understand how they came up with all those billions of dollars that they settled out for. No. Yeah, it was like 5 billion, but then like you pay like 20% of that or whatever the case may be. Right. And like the whole thing ended up being about $1 billion when you count all the brokerages, settlements, and NAR settlement and all the stuff. It's like $1 billion cash money. How'd you come up with that number? But this is different. There's measurable losses. And if you get, thousands of homeowners over the years, and you create a class action lawsuit with measurable losses, it sounds like a pretty easy case. All right, good stuff, everybody. Let's see who we got in the backstage here. Julie, are you with us? You can unmute. You are live on the channel. You're good? Oh, okay. I thought you had something to say. Sam, are you there?
Can you hear me, Ricky?
Yeah.
Man, this is awesome. Thanks for putting this together. Hey, longtime fan, love your YouTube channel. I think we've had a couple conversations here and there, but super excited with all your coverage of what's going on, man. You're doing a great job for the industry.
Thank you, brother. Good to see you. What's your comment?
Yeah, so I'm with Compass, and I'm not a Compass stan. In fact, I have my own issues with them. Honestly, I think there's no magic broker, right? It's up to us to go out there and find the business. The broker is what it is. But I guess one of my questions was, you were talking about the dual representation thing. If you're representing the buyer and the buyer chooses to purchase a FSBO home, you wouldn't be representing both sides, would you?
A FSBO home? It depends on how you do the paperwork. It just depends on how you do the paperwork and what state you're in and like what the legalities are and how agency is, how agency is done in your state. So it just kind of depends on, so that's kind of a broker question, like how does you, like what Like, how do you handle it in your state? Number one. How does your broker want you to handle that? Number two. You know what I mean? So what state are you in?
I'm in Texas. I'm in
Okay.
Dallas, and yeah, to your point, obviously it's different for different markets. But like in Dallas, we can have a buyer sign a non-representation form because the same way a seller might not want to deal with an agent, sometimes a buyer who's been through the transaction process a few times might not want to deal with an agent and would rather just buy it themselves. So, I mean, to me, if the buyer is comfortable going directly to the listing agent without having an own agent representing them, shouldn't they be able to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think they should be able to do that 100%. If they don't want representation, they can sign a piece of paper that says, I'm foregoing representation. And therefore, the agent works strictly for the seller, right? I would have something drawn up. I'd have my broker draw it up, and it would say something to the effect of, hey, basically, like, you should get your own representation, have them initial that line. You know, if you forego representation, you know, I will write the contract, but I will not consult you. I will be working for the seller to get as much as I can for the seller. You know, initial all these lines, sign here. You know, I would just want to make it crystal clear that of what's happening. That way, you know, if they come unrepresented, see, this is one of part of the problems with this, you know, unrepresented buyers. You know, you get unrepresented buyers, like that opens up a higher possibility of lawsuits. Right? And that's why it's great to have representation. You know, that's one more box you can check, you know, less liability.
I mean, I don't mean to imply that people should go without representation. Obviously, me being a realtor, I think that they should. But, you know, sometimes consumers feel differently. And I mean, if like a FSBO, right? If I'm talking to a FSBO and they're like, I've sold 5 homes on my own, I've never had to pay an agent, I've always got my asking price over, I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to waste my time talking to that person because there's another seller out there who needs my help more that I'd have a conversation with. Same thing with a buyer. If I'm talking to a buyer lead and they're like, man, I'm good. I bought 10 houses. I don't need a realtor. I prefer to just go directly to the listing agent. I think what some of the people in your comments might have been referring to is like a site like Zillow connecting them with a buyer's agent who's not affiliated with the home, knows nothing about the home compared to what the listing agent and the seller know, and then making them believe that that's the person who knows about the house. Do you follow me?
Mm. Yeah. No, absolutely, man. I get it. But like, when you think about non-represented buyers, I almost come to a place of I'm not even going to write the contract. Like I can't talk to you. I represent the side. It's almost like a lawyer that represents one side. They're not going to talk to the other side. They're not even going to talk to the other party. Communication at all. You know what I mean? So it's like you need your own representation. So if you don't want an agent, maybe you need to go get a lawyer to write the contract for you.
Right. No, I'm following you. And then on the Compass private exclusive thing, I don't do it very often, but every once in a while there's a situation where it makes sense. Like I had a guy right now because I work a lot of expireds, and I'll always have that conversation with them about, do you want to hold it off market and reset the days so you can be a fresh listing, or do you just want to go right back on? And I put the ball in their court. I've done it both ways with success. But like when
You know what?
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, I don't have a problem with the way they're doing it because they are complying with MLS. Like, I don't have a problem with the way,
This?
What's that?
When you say they, like you don't have a problem with them doing it, who are you referring
Compass. Yeah, Compass. I don't have a problem with the way Compass is doing it because they are complying with MLS. What kind of starts to bend me the wrong way is going against clear cooperation policy.
But what do you mean?
Well, clear cooperation, you have to put the listing in MLS within 24 hours from publicly advertising it, right? So you can have off-market exclusives as long as you don't advertise it publicly. So you can have off-market exclusive within your brokerage where you can share with the other agents in your brokerage all day long, right? But it's the moment you advertise them publicly, you've got 24 hours to put it into MLS.
So you're
like
saying
they're not doing anything.
Trying to like go around clear cooperation and have their cake and eat it too, so to speak.
Yes, that's where I have the problem, is that when you open up that, okay, like you open up that box and you do away with this and you allow brokerages to have complete private listings, look at what happens when that occurs. Number one, like if they have office exclusives and like it's legal and they can keep it for 30 days, 60 days, or even forever if they want to, let's just say they do away with the whole thing, and you've got to go through a Compass agent to get that house, that becomes a serious issue in the entire industry, because now if that becomes a rule, the rest of the industry has no choice but to create their own private listing portal of their listings their agents have, which they don't share with these other companies or whatever. And so now the buyers have to go from brokerage portal to brokerage portal to see everything for sale. And guess what? They're never going to see everything for sale, because there's going to be so many portals. You're going to have mom and paw companies on the side of the road with 3 agents who have 3 or 4 houses, and one of them might be the one you want, but you don't know about it because you looked in Remaxes and EXPs and Anywheres, and you couldn't find quite what you wanted, but there was like 4 mom and paw companies on the side of the road who had a listing you would like. And so what happens is it doesn't become an even playing field, right? And then as this starts to occur, it does away with the mom and paws, because those agents will leave to go to the bigger platforms because they need more inventory to show their buyers. So now the mom and paws are kicked out of the industry altogether. See, right now you can actually open up a brokerage as a one-man broker, like you're a broker owner and the agent of the whole company. And you can literally start that company right now, and you have access to all the listings for any client that you have. Now imagine doing that without access to the listings, right? And now you're limited because you're one man versus these armies. Now I'm gonna go on to say that in a world like that, Ricky would kill it.
Hell yeah, you would.
Like I don't care about. You think that would stop me from selling as many properties as I could possibly sell and serve as many people as I could at the highest level possible? Absolutely not. That's not what this is about. For me, it's about, I want all of my clients, my buyer clients, to see every home that's available. Look, dude, if there's a seller who just isn't serious about selling a home, they just want to kind of test out the market, okay, I don't care about that. But if like you're on the market, you're either on the market or off the market. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you there. And if there's agents, whether it's Compass or one of these other brokerages, because I'm aware other brokerages have their own version, who were using their private exclusive as a way to like hold their inventory from the public and avoid clear cooperation. Let me be clear. I'm not for that. I'm not trying to get lawyers on my ass either. And I don't think that's Compass's intention. But I mean, the 3-phase marketing thing kind of makes sense to me. You were talking about, putting the home out to all buyers to see, as if to say that's our duty to the buyers. But I would say, I mean, if I have an agreement in place with the seller to where my job is to protect their best interest and serve them, I'm not worried about those buyers. As long as I'm I don't care about those buyers.
I totally understand. I get you. I'm 100% behind you. But when I represent a seller, I want to get as much money as I can for that seller. That's my job. And if I don't expose it to the entire market as quick as possible, I don't know if I got the most money I could for them.
Right. I mean, if there's agents who are going on listing presentations and trying to mislead a seller that using a private exclusive is going to get them more exposure, that is incorrect.
Bingo.
Not what it is.
Bingo. What's his name-o?
So if that's happening, yeah, I mean, they should probably have their licenses revoked. Let's be honest.
You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head. And I think that the seller choice conversation has kind of steered agents to doing a little bit of that. And the whole Zillow is the devil has kind of steered some agents to doing a little bit of that. Because they believe it. Like if you've been told that this is better and you start to believe it, then in your mind, this is what's best for the clients. And now you're doing it and saying, this is what's best for you.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
comes down to what I go ahead.
That Kool-Aid, like like they're dying on the hill if this is better or not. Most of those agents, unless they're just like brokers who aren't even in production anymore, most of those agents aren't doing proactive lead generation every single day. Like the agents who are in the trenches, putting in the work, focusing on finding clients and serving clients at the highest level, they're not worried about piddly stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I absolutely, bro. No, I totally understand, bro. Cool, bro. Well, thank you for coming in, man. Thanks for your comments.
For sure. Keep crushing it.
Yeah, bro. All right, ladies and gents. Let's see. Jan, do you have something to say? Do you want to raise your hand? I mean, just like wave at me if you want to come on. Okay, cool. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I think this is just ridiculous. But our MLS says you have 48 hours to get that listing in the MLS.
Mhm.
That's how long you've got. And they also have established a private network. Now, the private network has two phases. One says you cannot show it at all. It's like a coming soon, just for your information. And the other one, it says you can show the property while it's in the private. The whole reason for the private originally was so that if you go in to get the listing and then they say, well, our painter's not going to be here till next week, you could still get the listing, put it in private and no showings, right?
Okay.
But now that some people are putting it in the private and allowing the showings, they're saying, and that's what Zillow doesn't like. They want to be able to put it to everybody.
Right.
Right.
So are you with Compass or what who are you with?
I'm at HomeSmart, and before that I was at Remax.
Gotcha.
So I've been in the business 35 years, and it's a supply and demand question as far as I'm concerned. I think, you know, the greatest audience will always get the highest price for a seller. And I don't like these things that they're saying, like how Compass is planning to do their business. I just think it's wrong and it shouldn't be allowed.
Right. What part of that are you talking about? Just marketing them privately, not allowing all the
Well, I
market.
think every office has their own office exclusives.
Sure,
but they're not put in the market. They're not marketed. It's just for people in the office to know about. But once they say, oh, then we're going to do phase 2, we're going to do it in the private.
Right.
And all these times they're showing the house, then you question it. What is it doing for the seller? The seller, obviously, he's only getting one point of view.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm with you. I feel like if we don't expose it to the entire market, how do we know?
How do you know?
It was like that story that I saw where Robert actually posted it on his Instagram. I think it was him who posted on his Instagram about how somebody got like 100,000 over list price or whatever the case may be, or 160,000 over list price or whatever it was, using the Compass office exclusives, private exclusives, whatever. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, well, how much more could they have gotten?
Yeah.
If it would have been marketed to the entire pool of buyers that were available at the time. And what did we price it at? You know, like, was it just way under?
You kind of blurped out.
All right, we're back. So,
Okay.
Jen, thank you for coming on.
Oh, no problem.
Sharing your 2 cents. Absolutely. All right, guys. So, AJ, I see your comment. If you want to come on the live, just use the link and come on. Happy to get in here and talk about it. Let's see. Sean, if you'll turn your video on. I could bring you in and get your 2 cents on the situation. But yeah, guys, if you would like to come in, just use the link. I pinned it at the top of the YouTube comments. If you're just tuning in, basically just kind of gave my 2 cents on the entire thing. So if you missed it, just go back and watch my rant, my monologue in the beginning, to understand kind of where I am. Because look, again, I'm not coming at anyone. I'm trying to understand. So if anybody watching this right now, if you're on the side of the argument on seller choice, private listing portal, all that stuff, click the link and come in. I would love to hear your 2 cents on this. I believe we've had Miss Jan. She was on the side of keeping it like it is. Sam was kind of in the middle. He was, he saw the use of it, but also, he was kind of in the middle. So I'd love to hear from somebody who's on the other side of this to come in and just share your perspective. Because again, we're just trying to understand. We're trying to get a handle on why it's a good idea to do this. Because I believe the ramifications, let's see what this is. Okay. I believe the ramifications of this, when you think about other countries, like I said, Belize, it takes so long to sell a property. I know people there that have properties. And I know a lady that just sold a house. It took her 2 years to sell a house, and she sold it for $250,000 less. And you have to go to 17 websites to see everything for sale, and you still don't get all the inventory. So, like, my question is that what we really want? Because when we start to open up this can of worms and we start to allow this, and it's the old saying, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile, which is already kind of happening. Where do we draw the line to say we're not gonna have different portals, because then all the buyers don't have the same opportunities, nor do the sellers have the opportunity to sell their properties as quickly as they do. Do you guys realize that other countries look at us so envious because our property is basically liquid assets? Because of the infrastructure we have in place that allows us to sell these properties so fast compared to the rest of the world for the most money. And we like, you put it on the market, you close in 30, 60, 90 days. Like, that's unheard of. And you get a check. Sometimes when you sell stocks, you got to wait a while to get your money. I'm just reading a comment. Hey, Ricky, I'm so happy I caught you live. I hate how these agents want to pocket all these listings just so they can double in. These agents want the playing field to be a little tilted in their favor. See, that's why I'm talking about this. I really feel that. And the argument is, well, Zillow gets information for free, sells us their leads. I'm going to echo what I said earlier. I'm glad that Zillow charges for leads as a listing agent and sends them to another agent, because I don't want to represent the buyer. I want to represent my seller. I don't want to even talk to the buyer. I want them to be represented by someone else, and I want them to be sent to somebody who's actually going to call them. How do we ensure that the buyers, that the leads that come through on Zillow for my listing actually get called? Well, we can charge the agent to make sure they call them. Hey, that's a good idea. Let's charge the agent so that we know that they're motivated to call every single lead that we get. Genius. I don't know. I'm a glass half full kind of guy, I guess. Do I wish Zillow would sell lease leads to leasing agents because it sends those directly to the listing agent? Why do you think? I don't know anything about the leasing leads and stuff. Don't know anything about that. Okay. Does anybody want to come in live with me here? I'm going to put the link in the chat. Give you guys one more opportunity to do that. Right there. You can click that link and join me live and give your 2 cents give a comment, let us know what you think about the entire situation. Would love to hear somebody on the side for private listings. As someone who does a lot of commercial, I hate how there's no clear cooperation. It's extremely hard and expensive to do transactions. Oh my goodness, boy. Oh my goodness, boy. When you think about commercial brokers, now think about this. Commercial agents aren't part of NAR. They're not part of the local MLSs. Commercial agents. What they do is they buy, hear me out. What they do is they're part of CoStar. What is CoStar? Well, CoStar is a pay-to-play platform where you pay to put your listings there. So is that where we want to go? Because if we don't have these rules in place, right, there's no clear cooperation policy. Commercial agents can hold whatever they want to as long as they want, not share it with anybody, find the buyer. Who knows if they could have got more if they exposed it to all the buyers. There's no clear cooperation in place. They have to pay to get their listings on the platforms in front of the buyers that they do want to advertise. And here we got a commercial agent who wishes that they did have all this stuff. It's just like other countries who are envious of our platform. Bill Black, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, Ricky? How you doing?
Good, man.
So, I mean, I'm a mortgage broker. My wife is a realtor and managing principal broker. And when I heard this, I just thought it's just not acceptable. I mean, I've closed over 1,500 transactions, and I can tell you that when a buyer is not represented, it's a nightmare. It is, I mean, they kind of lean on us. Oh, hey, they said the inspection, it shouldn't be an issue with this foundation or something like that. And I'm just like, man, you need representation. You need representation over and over. I've seen more sale fails when buyers are not represented. And, so the idea really, I mean, I was looking at some numbers the other day. There's like 10,000. I mean, the property will reach about 10,000 people if it's through Zillow and Redfin and all that kind of stuff. And as soon as it doesn't, there might maybe 500 to 1,000 people. So like you're losing 90% of the coverage of that. And if that was really disclosed, I mean, I'm fully transparent to my clients. And at this point, if they say that, I've been interviewing a couple of realtors, I'm going to say, hey, number one, ask them if your house is going to be listed just for 10,000 people or 1,000 people to be able to see their home. Because it's only fair, I mean, if they find this halfway through, like, hey, why isn't my house selling? And they're, 30 days into this and they realize I wasn't even, nobody even sees my house out there. I think there's going to be, a few problems and quite a few lawsuits from it.
Oh, there's no doubt. But let me tell you something, dude. Like, again, like if they did the whole private portal thing, if this actually went down or whatever, I would absolutely crush it. Like from a business perspective, it would be easy for me. Now in this market where MLS still exists and clear cooperation is still there, and then if I'm up against one of these agents talking about let's keep it off market for a little while, there's no way I'm going to lose that listing because I'm going to just show them data. Okay. Well, here's how many people here's how many eyeballs it's going to get day one. Okay. Ask them how many eyeballs that your listing is going to get day one. Because this is how many eyeballs I'm going to get for you day one. Yeah. It's pretty easy from there.
Yeah. Yeah. And, another thing we had, there was an issue going on here in Washington State where there was the coming soon was.
You're in Washington State?
Yeah. Yeah. I met you in Vancouver. I did the assumable thing that we talked about. Remember the assumable loans? And,
Yeah.
So, down in Vancouver.
The day before the event at the little thing. Yeah. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, you too. I've been following you. I love your you just tell it like it is, man. I love that. So
that's it, man.
One of the things here about that coming soon, I was looking at a couple realtors that I noticed, man, this was when the market was really, really hot. But it's like I don't see her listings anywhere, but I see them on Facebook and I see them here. Well, I did a little analysis. This girl did the last 12 of her transactions, she double-sided both of them. So she just kept telling people, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and market this for the first, 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So she would do coming soon and push it all out there and then double side it. And I'm seeing that house didn't go over asking. Every other house went over asking, but she's making 5% on the whole deal. And that's kind of where part of this problem is coming in, is if you're pushing something out there and not getting a buyer's agent, so you're almost letting people find them without a buyer's agent. It's a big problem. I mean, it's a big issue.
Yeah, no. It opens up a lot of avenues for lawsuits. That's what I don't understand. Like, okay, if you have a private listing portal, right, and then you're selling it within your own brokerage, and you're double ending more deals, even if it's through a different agent at your brokerage, it's still considered dual agency.
Yeah.
Right. If it's a dual agency state, or it doesn't matter if it's a different agent, it's in the same brokerage. And so now the brokerage is liable.
Yeah.
Right. And so that increases the liability for the brokerage on those deals.
Yeah.
I think what's going to be interesting, like as things move forward, like if in fact something could happen with E&O, like it's like, hey, if you like
high risk,
like if your brokerage offers, like private exclusives, then your E&O insurance is this much, right? If you abide by MLS and clear cooperation policy, then your E&O insurance is this much. It's really real interesting. I believe that's something that could happen in the near future. But
it's risk. I mean, risk-based pricing really is all we're looking at. Is you're higher risk, so you're going to either pay more or they're going to get dropped.
Dude, put me up against an agent that's talking about we're gonna sell this thing without showing it to anybody for a couple weeks.
Well, our recruiter is already working on all of the people in Oregon and Washington at Compass to start recruiting them. So I think that people are going to be jumping off ship faster than they realize. Yeah.
Are you hearing that? Is that the word on the street?
Oh yeah. It's they're. I was just talking to my wife this morning. She headed to Phoenix, but they're the talk is that people, and it just takes one or two big people, leaders to jump ship, and then all of a sudden everybody else is going to follow that one big name or big leader. So, I've seen it with multiple companies when they start changing their income approach or their rules, or all of a sudden one person leaves and it's like just a big downfall of
this is what I don't understand. Okay, and this is to everybody. Put in the comments, whatever. Here, like, this is what I don't understand. You have to see the writing on the wall. Okay. You have to see that, number one, okay, is okay, this is a big question. Is offering a listing privately, is that what's best for the seller? Like, that's one question. Yeah. Right? That's one question. Is that what's best for the seller? And I'm coming from a genuinely curious place, like just asking the world. I'm not taking a side. I'm saying, is that what's best for the seller? That's one thing. The next thing is, how can you not look at this and realize that this opens up so many avenues of potential lawsuits? Okay, so that's the next thing. And through that, do you not realize that there's a huge potential that you're going to lose a lot of agents? So it's just like, check. Why in the world would you even go down this road to try to disrupt this incredible system that's been in place for so long, when in fact, if you're so against it, you could just leave the board. You could just leave MLS and then not even worry about, well, why don't you do that? Because you know that the MLS is the Dalai Lama. Like, it is the pie in the sky. It is the system that actually gets the stuff sold. Whereas somebody else represents the buyer. It lowers our risk of liability. It gets the highest price in the least amount of time. You can't leave MLS. So right. It's just, I'm just like sitting here genuinely asking myself, if I were in his shoes, you know who I'm talking about, why would I be doing this? I can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge.
Bill, good to see you, my brother.
Yeah, you too. We'll catch up. I'll keep you up on the most recent assumable stuff that we've been doing. It's we're killing it though. It's good stuff.
Reach out to me, man.
All right. Take care.
Later,
Thanks
brother.
for bringing me on.
Yes, sir. All right. Andre, what's up, bro?
What's going on, Ricky? Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, good, man. Good to see you there. You got the podcast set up, got the headphones, and Looks like
Yeah.
you're in a new construction there, in the middle of construction there behind you.
In the garage. This is where my desk setup is.
Nice.
It's where I can get the money working. So I've been, this is touching really close to me and my personal experience. I've been in real estate for the past 10 years. And I predominantly work in the commercial real estate sector. And these residential agents have no idea how lucky they have, or how lucky they are to have clear cooperation. And let me give you an example. Like in commercial real estate, it is so bad when it comes to selling property and leasing property and buying property, because commercial real estate agents, they're not part of NAR. They don't have to be. And having clear cooperation is not a requirement. You can put a sign up on the side of a building and not market it anywhere. And that's not including, marketing the property and even accessing these marketed properties. Like a commercial real estate agent or an agent in general has to pay hundreds, even thousands of dollars a month to access just the basic amount of listings on the market. So, and that doesn't, and these are long-term contracts. So let me give you an example. Like if you have a property that's listed across the street, office building, that may be on LoopNet, but it's not on CoStar, or maybe only on CoStar, but it's not on LoopNet. And in order for you to even look at this for your clients, you have to not only subscribe to CoStar, but you also have to subscribe to LoopNet.
Wow. Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So you see a sign on a property and you can't show it to your buyer without being a member of LoopNet or CoStar?
No, you can show the property without being a member, but how are you even going to know that it's marketed if you weren't driving by?
Okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So,
as a commercial guy, because I dabbled in commercial for a while and I had to have CoStar, which was $500 a month. And I had it. I paid it for a couple years. And and that wasn't even LoopNet, I don't believe. I think that was just the CoStar part. So that was just for the membership. I didn't even list any properties on there or anything. So without that, I wouldn't know anything.
So this is the way that I see. If we keep digging ourselves into this hole of getting rid of clear cooperation, we're going to have like we are seeing a Compass MLS, a Keller Williams MLS, a EXP Realty MLS, etc. And each one of those is going to be $200, $200, and it's quickly going to add up for everybody, just because each individual has their own MLS that they're selling their clients to. And I want to touch real quick on the last guy, Bill. You talked about I don't want to say the brokerage, but there's a brokerage out there that has their own type of MLS. But honestly, like, they don't, in my opinion, these brokerages don't care because they're getting their desk fees from the non-producers, and the producers are the ones that are benefiting entirely on double-ending these deals on the specific or proprietary MLSs, which is not these MLS. So I've been, this is so close to me, and I hope that residential real estate doesn't go down this route. And I hope that real estate agents see that real estate is already illiquid enough for there not to be clear cooperation.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for coming in and saying that. I have to say, I agree. Like, I mean, that, I guess that's what side I'm on with this, is that I understand, I'm empathetic towards celebrities who want to maintain privacy. And I understand there are situations, but I don't believe getting the lowest amount of eyeballs day one is what's best for consumers, buyers or sellers. Right. So no, I appreciate that, you coming in and sharing your perspective.
Well, this guise of, it's what, my client is high net worth individual. That, I mean, what percentage of transactions really
they said it was like 0.001.
Yeah, it's still very, very low. And plus, there are ways to sell properties. You could put it in a trust. You could even put it in the private remarks, like, hey, I need a week's notice, or you need to be pre-approved, or you need to show proof of funds in order to see the property. But the guise of just saying, "Oh, I'm going to put it through my own MLS system," that's a straw man argument. And it's
and here's the thing. Here's what I like. It's like you can still do that like internally without advertising it to the public. So here's my argument. Here's part of my argument. Like let me get this straight. You don't want to publicly put your property out on these platforms. You don't want to publicly advertise your property. You want privacy. But when you put it on our private exclusive platform, then we're going to advertise it publicly. They don't do that yet because they can't. But I think that's what they want to do, right? Because think about it. If they get it privately and then they can advertise it publicly through their platform, then what's the difference in advertising it publicly everywhere else? You're just getting fewer eyeballs. That's part of my argument is that what we want is seller's choice, not to be on this platform. We want to be on this platform or this platform because of privacy. But yet on the platform, what we're really pushing for here is to be able to publicly advertise these things through the platform. So now we're still out there in the public.
The 99% of the sellers, or even 99.9% of the sellers that I've worked with, they don't care. They just say, "Can you sell my property?" "Yes, I can."
Of course.
Well, get it done. You know, it's like
of course they don't care. Of course they don't
even
care.
know the difference.
I've never had a seller that cared. Well, you're in Alabama. Well, I represented people all over the country who bought condos on the beach.
And this is a side note. I mean, if you wanted your privacy, there's so many ways that you can hide your privacy, but we are in the internet age. And if you should have decided that back in like 2000, if you didn't want your privacy out on the internet. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I hope that clear cooperation continues to be in residential real estate. It's not a good idea for us to get away from that.
I think it will be. And I think that, I think what'll happen is that the people that don't like the rule will maybe leave MLS. I don't know, maybe leave the membership, you know. I don't know. But thank you, brother. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. So real quick, I got to roll, but go ahead, Edwin, if you want to share your comment real quick.
Hi, how are you, Ricky?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I'm from LA. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're kind of in and out, but yeah, go ahead.
I'm breaking out.
Yeah, we lost you. Stephanie, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can't see you.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see if I can. How do I change my cam? Sorry. There we go. Hey.
You go.
How are you?
Good. Hey, I'm listening. I'm just going to fix something on my camera real quick. So give me your comment.
Cool. So, what are your thoughts? Because sometimes I feel like for investors, it's better to almost sell off market and have an exclusive MLS for that type of situation because they actually are more apt to putting in offers if it's not on the MLS. And so I'm just wondering, like, where that could be kind of a benefit if you have it on an off-market platform.
Yeah, sure. Like you can do that within your brokerage. You just can't offer it publicly.
Yeah.
You can offer it to the other agents in your brokerage all day long.
Yeah.
That's legal. That's fine. That doesn't break any of the rules. That's always been there. That's kind of been the thing. It's like, well, you can kind of already do this. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is they want to be able to market it only to their agents and the general public. It's like they want to cut off all the rest of the agents and their clients who they have buyer agency agreements with. Right. And so if you have a buyer agency agreement with somebody at Remax, but yet Compass or somebody with a private portal has the listing, right, through their portal, you know, like, are they going to work with an outside broker on that in that situation? See, this is what we're opening the door to. Is like, you got to come through Compass agents if you want access to our inventory. That's how it is in other countries, right? So that's kind of the Pandora's box that is being opened. Like,
You think that's
that's
actually going to help? You know what I mean? Like, is that?
do I think it'll help?
It'll either go either way. Like, hey, you can come on our exclusive platform, or it could totally just be like, I'm not going there. I don't even. Do you know what I'm saying? Why would
No, but like sellers, like, humans are gullible. So if you present them an idea and you're enthusiastic about it, maybe because you believe it's the best thing, even though it may or may not be, then the seller could believe that. So now they're on the platform, they're getting fewer eyeballs than they could on the open market, and they sell it. And then years later, they see what the comps were at the time and say, wait, we sold that for 30,000 less than what we could have bought it for. That's not right. And then you have hundreds of other owners that say the same thing because you don't know what you could have got for it if you didn't expose it to the entire market.
Right.
Same thing with the investors you're talking about. But I know what you're saying, but you can advertise it to the other agents in your office as an office exclusive. That's perfectly within the rules. They want to do away with the clear cooperation policy, which makes you put an MLS within 24 hours. They feel like it's not seller's choice. The seller shouldn't have to be forced to put it on Zillow and MLS. Okay, leave MLS.
Is that just like make it feel like a more of an exclusive feeling, so that maybe it does put like a little fire under the buyer's booty to like put in an offer before it goes to MLS, or they just never put it in MLS?
No, they put it in MLS right now because they have to.
Yeah.
But they're fighting that.
But why?
They don't want to have to put it in MLS within 24 hours.
Got it.
And they want to be able to advertise those publicly. In my opinion, like, I think you do away with clear cooperation and then you do away with certain rules, then all of a sudden you can advertise private properties exclusively to the general public, and you don't have to put it in MLS. That's when things get messy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah. But as it is right now, I mean, I want to expose my property to the most eyeballs. So that goes for investors as well. If an investor just says, hey, I'll sell it, but I don't want to put it on the market. Well, okay. Where I come from, they call that a pocket listing. And I just put it on a list of properties that they would sell and if I happen to run across a buyer, great. I don't put a lot of time into those.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's not what I'm going to spend my time on. I'm going to spend my time on motivated sellers who actually need me right now.
Mm-hmm.
People that would sell and don't want to put it on the market. It's hard to spend a lot of time with those type of clients.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, you'll sell well, I'll help you if.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I get you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was all
Good to see you, Steph.
Good to see you.
All right. Cool, guys. Let's see. Check a few comments here. Less exposure equals less offers. I have a couple that does not want me to list, but only wants me to bring them cash buyers. Okay. I mean, you're not serious. All right, cool. Hey, guys, just speaking my mind. I hope you guys appreciate the fact that I'm willing to come on here to the entire world and just say how I feel. I think it's kind of rare these days. And I'm not scared to do it. And I'm not coming at anyone. I'm just really honestly trying to understand the situation to the fullest. I want to hear both sides. And I think what's kind of sad to me is I was kind of hoping that I would get somebody on the other side of this who's pro private portal, office exclusive, do away with CCP. I was hoping to get someone like that on the live. Edwin, I don't know if you're on that side or not. You were breaking up on me. Let's see if you're better. Or what side are you on?
Actually, I'm on your side.
See, this is what I'm saying. So, like, I was hoping, because I know
but I gotta say something about.
Go ahead.
I used to be with Compass. I left Compass for my personal reason, but overall, and I'm practicing over 27 years. I'm in LA area. Back old days when we were doing bank-owned properties, when you say bank-owned, just about the wording. Bank-owned, private, coming soon, off-market.
Right.
Buyers get tempted with those words. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We're not trying to mislead the consumers with the word, and we're trying to shaft them. We're trying to do our best. Like you said, we're trying to sell the best possible price, represent the sellers, represent the buyers, and all this stuff. But when you think private listing, then only Compass agents have access to it. Regards clear cooperation, I'm for it and I'm not for it. The only thing I'm not for it on the clear cooperation, that if I have a listing, the seller is not ready. I know our MLS said you have 14 days, 15 days, let the seller to do his construction, cleaning, whatever it is. But I have a listing. If I want to put them on social media, I said, coming soon. And they said, you cannot show it to anybody. If somebody calls and owner wants to show it to that person, owner has a right to show it, and
honestly, I don't get it, man. Honestly, I don't understand it. It's like, for me, when coming soon became an option in the MLS and all that stuff, right towards the tail end of me retiring from sales. And I think it was an option for maybe like the last 2 or 3 years when I was still selling. And I never used it one single time. I didn't understand why you would want to. It's like, because when it's coming soon, now you got the buyers ready to roll. Like there's like properties sell in a day all the time. So as soon as they see it, then they want it. And I don't want it to be out there until the seller's ready to sell it. It's like, coming soon. Okay, well, let me know when you're ready to list it, kind of deal. Or here's the game plan. Like, why do you want to do what you're trying to do? Okay, based on all this, here's what it looks like. Here's the next step. And here's what we're going to do. First, second, third, I'll lay out the game plan for them for their specific situation, customized around them, and whatever that is. But we don't, I'm not going to if they don't want to show it, or I'm not able to show it, I don't want any buyer to know about it.
I just want to, the overall with the off market, when I see on the social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, people say off market. I understand it's off market. What off market mean? It's not in MLS. It's not on a Zillow. What
does that mean? Like, is it for sale?
Yeah.
Okay, so if for sale, then that means it's on the market.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. If there's no like off market means they won't sell it. It's off the market.
Yeah, off market. I mean, you think off market what? What are you talking about over here? So, on Zillow, I used to pay Zillow, and I said, why am I paying Zillow? Zillow is working for me, same verbiage. I don't want to deal with the buyers that contact me that said first-time home buyers, and I like them buyer to get their own representation. But if the buyer does not have a representation, my job is to do whatever I can do, represent both parties or one party, just to do utmost integrity what I'm doing. But as far as Zillow is the tool helping me to expose my properties to the widest range, and I tell them, okay, if I'm a premier agent, hey, seller, I'm paying X month, I'm buying a Zillow, it's just marketing. You can use your marketing platform in every direction, by mailers, and I still believe a mailers is the best.
For sure.
I'm an old school guy.
I can tell.
I like to go. I never done door knocking in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it. I don't think so. Anybody wants to pick up the phone, hey, are you ready to sell the property? I'm sure that seller get 20 calls after the property gets canceled or expired. So it's all about relationship, building it, follow up. In the sell, it's all about personality. If you have a good personality, regardless what you sell, you're going to kill it.
That's it, man. Thanks for coming in, man, and sharing your 2 cents, brother.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Good to see you, man. All right, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the show today. I'm trying to go live every Wednesday. I'm actually out of town next Wednesday, but I might pull it off from my phone or something. Let's see, where am I going to be? I'll be traveling back home, so won't be able to go live, but I'll go live next Thursday for the show next Thursday. So whatever the breaking news is of the week, I'll be there to share it with you. Follow me on Instagram, DM me there if you guys want to DM me there. I answer all my messages, so that's a good place to get me. I appreciate you guys. Get out there and sell something. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you guys really soon.